All right, so we got a replay sent in by the lovely Lemon Deception, right? Now, this guy is a wonderful human being, and he or she, it don't matter, I don't assume, wants me to be very harsh, right? Very, very harsh. So we're going hard in the fucking paint. We're going ragey. Nah, but they wanted me to save none of it. They just wanted me to go absolutely haram. So that's what I'm gonna do. Okay. I'm going to be going pretty hard in the paint on you then. As long as you can take it, obviously. But I don't know. All criticism comes with a solution as well. But yeah, it's a 17-minute VoD on whatever the fuck this map is called. I don't even know. But we'll take a look at it. I will criticize your positioning. Probably going to be looking a lot at cooldown usage and also how you line up your ultimates. As for team comps, Team 1, which is yours, we have Genji, Hanzo, Rein, Kiriko, and Moira. I mean, Moira's okay, but Team 2, you have Mei, Hanzo, Zarya, Brig, and Sen. Right now, the enemy team has a better team comp overall, but we'll see how this one plays out.
I'll find them.
Why the fuck are we playing so far up?
4, 3, 2, 1. Attackers incoming.
A taste of poison.
Stop the payload.
Gonna point something out straight away, Lemon. For Hanzo, it's generally better to be playing on high ground right here. The reason for this is just the way projectiles work in this game. It's way easier to be aiming a little bit slightly above their head on the offset that you get a headshot, right? Being on the same playing field, like if you were to shoot someone on the same like level as you, at that point it kind of becomes a 50-50 whether you're gonna hit it or not. Abusing high ground from this position right here just increases the odds of you getting a headshot, right? There's a small RNG factor into it, but it's just better overall, right? And also, if you're gonna spam Stormbow, it's also better to always be on high ground. But the reason why I'm stopping here is because I don't necessarily mind your positioning. It's a little bit more safer than the rest of your team. So you don't know if they have a Widow or not, so I'm not going to criticize you for that. But instead of spamming your Stormbow into the herd like this, what I want you to do instead is manipulate your Stormbow by hitting on this little dot right there. Do you see it? It's not this one, it's that one, right? And if you hit that one, it's going to bounce directly into Mei's little nugget right here, right? And I've trained this one. If it doesn't hit Mei, it probably hits Sen instead, right? So try and remember that one. It's the second glowy dot right there, and it will absolutely hit everyone behind the cart. So I just want to point that out, like a small little trick from the get-go. I know that a lot of Hanzo players don't do that, but I think it will separate you from a mediocre Hanzo to a much better Hanzo. Nice. I mean, you can already tell what I meant by high ground, right? Already getting much, much better. What the actual fuck? Okay, then. But you understand, Lemon, what I said about high ground, right? Like, you went from not hitting a single shot to getting 3 kills and some damage, right? And you're already halfway to your ultimate. High ground should always be abused, as much as humanly possible. Here's another thing I want to point out, just positioning-wise. When you take shots, you move back and forth like this, right? Back and forth like this. Don't ever do that. Don't ever do this. Against a Hanzo or against a Widow, never move back and forth like this. Instead, try and get into the mindset of moving left and right instead, right? Try and be a little bit unpredictable with your movement. Going back and forth like this could just lead to you getting fucking hit in the nugget and you're gone, right? Because you're a Hanzo, they have a Hanzo, so you understand the potential of getting one shot from any distance, right? Moving back and forth doesn't stop you from getting one shot, but if you move left and right instead, boom. It's way harder for the enemy Hanzo to actually hit you. Another thing I just want to point out.
Time for a fight. Make me proud.
Got one here.
Good Sonic. Okay, now we're gonna hit.
I'm here.
You saw the Hanzo go top right? Careful.
I main Genji is you want that VoD.
Another thing I want to point out, if you get Discord orbed, always try and take a more defensive position and let it wear out. Discord orbs are terrifying.
It's not my time yet.
Because now all of a sudden, you might go from getting 2-shot to 1-shot by a lot of their casts, right? So, you should always try and let it wear off. I want to see how you engage here. Okay, Sonic Arrow. Okay, since you wanted me to be harsh, I'm gonna be fucking harsh. You hear me, Lemon? You have a perfect opportunity here to Sonic Arrow, see where the enemy team is, and then hide your dragon by shooting it right here. Now the question is, why don't you? Why are you not setting up for an insane dragon right here? Even better, you can Sonic Arrow the location that they're right there, and you can even do an offset dragon right here. That way, they will walk into it, right? So, why are you not thinking about setting up your dragon right here and now? Their entire team is clumped up together. They're all playing on the payload. If you press tab, you would have seen that your Reinhardt had ult as well. It just works, right? On the offset that you're putting a Sonic Arrow down, you see all 5 of them on the cart. You should be instantly looking to set up your dragon to the most possible way to get damage. Now, there are 2 ways you can do this. One, generally speaking, when your Rhine is on the cart, they're not going to move forward. They're going to move a little bit backwards. That's just the nature of Overwatch games go. So, you want to kind of position it a little bit behind the payload, so in case they kind of like, you know, move backwards, you kind of want them to walk into it, right? Because then they have to make a choice. Either they go through your dragon and take damage, or 2, they walk forward and get the Rhinehammer, right? Another thing is, I don't think you're going to do this. I'm going to point this out straight away. This angle right here is probably the best angle for Hanzo in the entire map. This right here. I literally stand here and just spam for days. Boop, spam, boop, spam, boop, spam. Right? Because when the payload is right there, the payload is so low that you can actually kind of position your crosshair slightly above it and then get just random headshots. This angle is fucking deadly. If that doesn't do it for you, again, Stormbow right here. You see this? You'll hit the Sari in the head. So try and use the like all the surroundings of the map to try and get your Stormbow to do more ricochets, right? So try and keep that in mind. Okay. Okay. I mean, it worked out, right? Could have done it earlier, but, you know, the concept remains the same. So far, so good. Okay, I want to ask this. Lemon, sensitivity and DPI. Actually, no, don't answer that. Don't answer that. That can actually give it away. Could you instead... Lemon, could you instead send your DPI and sensitivity to Daisy and she'll PM me instead? Do that. Don't say it in chat. Just message my mod what it is.
There they are. Get ready.
Okay, almost got the kill there. Nice kill. Nice headshot. Nice kill again. Did you see a ghost? Did you see a ghost? What's going on here? Now you got me worried, motherfucker. What was that? Oh, nice prediction. Don't use ult here. Hold it. Nice shot. I like that you're kind of trying to predict where they're going. It's okay. I don't agree with that ultimate at all. Monka W. I don't agree with that ultimate at all. I would have rather you hold it there.
I cannot give up yet.
It's better because like the way you gotta look at it, right? Actually, I kind of want to touch base on this and explain why I'm saying that. So if you look at the timer, right? It's about to be overtime. The pressure is on the enemy team, not you. right? So if you play that slightly more passive and you save your dragon for, you know, the offset that they climb onto the payload and they try and push it, I think it's way better to do it that way because they're forced to touch the payload, because if they don't, you win the round, right? You putting your ultimate there actually serves no purpose, none whatsoever. Your Ryan is about to die on that fight, right? And even if you get 1 or 2 picks, you're not going to win that as long as their Sara is alive. And this is something we've spoken about a lot before, is that if your tank dies and the enemy team tank is alive and both supports and both teams are alive, the chance of you winning that fight goes down drastically, right? The reason why I say that is because tanks are probably the most impactful role this game has to offer right now. And if their tank is alive and yours is dead, the chances of you winning that fight is very, very small. So I would rather that you held it for when they touch the payload instead.
I'll find them.
Stay high ground. We do not want to jump down.
Surrender to my will.
Almost got to kill it. What is your Ryan doing? Oh, that was kind of your Ryan's fault that actually got in. Nice shot. Almost. Okay. Team wide. Reaper to your left. You're dead, right? No shot.
Soldier 76 reporting.
Okay. I would have rather that you took that liberty and actually ran to your team and survived. You dying there is kind of like a 4v5 for no reason. So you're kind of staggered while they are probably forcing a fight. Another thing I want to point out as well is that we're not really wall climbing, if almost any at all. Try and wall climb a little bit more. Where the hell are we going? Stormbow. Stormbow. Nice. Yep. Our Ryan is dead, so I think that Kiriko ult wasn't really the greatest. Ooh. Your Ryan dies here. What in God's name was that ultimate? What's going on here? What's this? What is this? Lemon Deception. What is this? I don't like this. Nah, but like all jokes aside, no, not a good ultimate, not at all. Serves no purpose. Even if you get a kill, it don't matter. This is a completely wasted ultimate. It looked like you panicked to me, and you're the only one left alive. There's absolutely no reason to do this ultimate. Instead, once again, I'm gonna say it. You need to hold it here, right? I think there is a good and fine balance between a medium on a Hanzo player where sometimes you use the ultimate too frequently, sometimes you use it too infrequently, right? It's kind of hard to find the middle balance, what's a high usage looks like and what a low usage looks like. Right now, I think you're on the scale of using it way too much, right? You're kind of throwing it out in hopes that it gets some form of value. But the thing is, even though your dragon gets value here, it doesn't matter, right? Payload got pushed in, your tank is dead, you're the last one alive. Even if you get a kill, maybe you even get 2. The only change is that you get 2 more eliminations on the scoreboard, but it actually serves no purpose at all for the actual game itself. They're still going to push it in without any problems, and they're going to push the payload without any hesitation, and this is not going to stop it, right? So I would rather that you hold this for when there's a 5v5 and your Ryan goes in. So there's been 2 wasted ultimates now, and I would rather you be a little bit more strategic when it comes to it. Also, chat, you don't have to remind me. I see the ads. Don't worry about it. Here, take this banger. Wait, our ads already Are they already over? They're done? Okay, good. Yeah, the reason why we wait for ads is because not everyone has the funds to subscribe to the channel, right? And when we're doing educational content, I think it's very unfair to let the replay run when non-subs get ads, right? Because they miss like important parts, and I feel like that's very unfair. So the reason we pause is because not everyone has the ability or the funds to sub. So I just want to point that out.
My bad.
Okay, the Reaper's above you. Yep. Gotta be a little bit careful.
Surrender to my will.
Not a terrible angle. It's hard for Hanzo to get value on low ground here. Very, very hard. It's always going to be difficult for Hanzo players to get any type of value. So I want to actually, I kind of want to speak on this because I feel like it's very, very important. So as of the couple of days we've been playing right now, funny enough, you guys might laugh at this, but I think my Hanzo is like mid-tier at best, right? I have decent aim, but there's a lot of like fundamentals that I'm lacking on Hanzo. That's why we've been playing him a lot recently, because I kind of want to get better at him. But there's one thing that I've learned is that taking fights on equal ground or from low to high is very unfavored for Hanzo. It's actually more unfavored for him, more so than other characters in the game. That's why you always see me when I play Hanzo. I always try and take like slightly above high ground, above the enemy team. The reason why I do that is because it feels like it's just so much easier to get headshots that way, and it's easier to land Stormbow as well, right? I've always felt like taking a fight where you're on low ground and anyone is like slightly above you has always been like one of the most difficult things you can do as a particular character, especially for Hanzo, right? So the one tip I can give you, Lemon, straight off the rip, is like on any map, it doesn't matter which map, but if you can take a slight high ground and you can elevate yourself slightly above the enemy team, you will always find more success. I mean, go back to the first point, right? You were playing on low ground, we're spamming arrows, we're hitting, but we're not getting any kills. You walk climb up to the high ground, and then all of a sudden you get a 3k, right? That's not RNG. That's just how the character is meant to be played, right? There's a fundamental misunderstanding by a lot of players in any rank that high ground is supposedly not to be that important. I disagree. High ground in Overwatch is insane. Like it is actually so fucking strong, and I feel like the more you abuse high ground, the more you will understand that you being elevated versus the enemy team being on the ground is actually an incredible power move, right? And I think if you can try and apply that logic to almost any map in the game, if you can find a high ground but always have clear sight lines where the enemy team is, you will find way more success in general instead of playing on an elevated ground. This comes back to something that we discussed when we did all like 130 replays that we did like a couple weeks back. We talked about this extensively, and one of the few things that we came up with was like, on the offset that you find on high ground versus the enemy team being on low ground, it's just that you have such a better angle, and not only that, but you also play slightly more defensively, right? It's always going to be difficult for the enemy team to try and get to you when you're higher up than they are, and as long as you can have clear sightlines of where they are, you will always be able to find an exit route, and you will always be able to do more damage because just nature of how strong high ground is in Overwatch. So I just want to point that out. It's very, very important, and I feel like you're taking kind of unfavorable duels most of the time I see on this map. But if you can apply that logic to this map and other maps in general, you'll find way more success. So I just wanted to point that out because I feel like it's extremely important. And it goes back to the good old saying, try and be the annoying cunt that you hate playing against, right? Try and play as smart, as defensively as humanly possible, but still do a lot of damage. So what I say is, equates to try be an annoying cunt, right? No one likes to play against a good Hanzo player, right? It fucking sucks. So we're trying to be that person a little bit more. Hopefully that makes sense.
Scanning.
You can see him teleporting top right. Okay, here comes the Reaper. Nice shot on the Reaper. Sonic arrow the stairs. Sonic arrow the stairs. Let me point out something to you. I think on any map in the game, like any map in the game, it doesn't matter which map you name, maybe Hollywood, maybe Dorado, but this high ground here is, in my opinion, probably the strongest high ground on any map in the entire game. You playing up here, I mean, look at this shit, dude. You have pillars, you can go back to spawn if you have to for healing. Abuse the living shit of this high ground, not only defensively, but also if you're on offense. I can't tell how many games I've solo carried and won by just taking this defensively and also on offense, right? This high ground is fucking ridiculous and is most broken fucking high ground in the entire game. And if you are on this point, whether you're offense or defense, always abuse the fact that this exists. I don't care what character you play, always abuse this. Always. Like, bar none. Maybe not on Reaper. Actually, no, you can do it on Reaper because then you can just fucking jump down on the payload. Yeah, no, I always abuse the high ground.
Round 1 complete.
Second Gibraltar spaceship.
Score.
Well, see, that one is a little bit controversial, Jacuzzi, because if you're playing against a good Widow, that high ground is actually quite difficult to maintain. Like, if you're playing against someone like me on Widow, for example, it is very dangerous to be up on high ground. It can sometimes equate to just you dying, and then it's a 5v4. This one is a little bit more difficult because compare this high ground versus the spaceship on Gibraltar, because there's no cover on Gibraltar, right? There's no cover whatsoever. There's nothing to hide behind. At least here, you have like pillars, you have the glass panels, and you have the spawn right behind you, right? On Gibraltar, you're literally standing in the open, right? So that's the dangerous part about Gib versus the high ground there. Oh, a little bit of soldier action. Okay, okay. A little bit of soldier action.
Back to playing the hero? I never stopped. Unlike you. The world doesn't want us, Wilhelm. At least I can realize that.
Yo, Chad, you know what I figured out last night? How many of you guys in chat has played StarCraft here? I'm gonna blow you guys' fucking mind right now. How many of you have played StarCraft in chat? Press 1. I'm gonna blow your fucking mind. Okay, there's a couple of you. Did you guys know that the voice actor for Soldier is the same guy who did Zeratul and Archons in StarCraft? Do you guys know that? I figured that out last night. Blew my fucking mind. Yeah, Zeratul and Archon is the same voice actor as Soldier 76. I actually didn't know that until like yesterday. And I was like, what the fuck, dude? And Roadhog? Yeah, I knew that. I knew that one. Yeah, it's kind of cool, actually. I had no idea.
I love car races. High octane. Burning rubber. The thrill of the chase.
5,
Ooh, pedal to the metal.
3, 2, 1. Attackers incoming.
Yeah, I knew he did Roadhog as well. Yeah.
Escort the
Oh my god, that Reaper just fucking executed you. And the Moira is like...
I can't get away with this.
Actually, Lemon, if you watch me play Hitscan on this particular point on offense, you will always see me stand in the spawn doors before I know where the enemy team comp is. I kind of just play it back, play it very defensively to stop myself from dying, right? Yep, this is good. Go take high ground. Drop healing. Drop your healing. Drop your healing. Okay. Okay, the Moira's gonna come for you. One, okay, so I kind of want to point this out to you. A lot of people don't do this in Soldier, so I'm going to say it right now. You are actually a huge advantage if the Moira decides to push you here. And the reason for this is if you chip her down a little bit, drop your healing, she can't kill you as long as your healing is down, right? It's not going to happen. However, there's one thing a lot of Soldier players don't do, and I want you to start utilizing this immediately. If a Moira is pushing you and you know what's happening, you can actually take an aggressive position like this and wait for her to come out. The moment she steps out of this doorway, you right-click melee, right? And she gets one shot. A lot of people don't do that for whatever reason. It's 195 damage, right? So it's very, sorry, not 100, it's 165 damage, right? So if you chip her down a little bit and she decides to push you anyways, if you stand here at the doorway, a little bit hidden, the moment she comes out, right-click melee, she dies. It's what I like to call the one-shot combo on Tracer. That's why you need to chip her down a little bit. But if she comes out here and does that to you, she has to fear you. You should not fear her, if that makes sense, right? So I want you to remember that in your head, that right-click melee will always finish off a support like that, especially if they push you and they're going to be a fucking idiot like that. So I just want to point that out.
Strike from above.
Pharah? Why the fuck not? Not a terrible pick here. Nice kill. Watch out for the Reaper. Careful. Okay, we lose this fight. I actually don't mind the Pharah here. The only one who can really do damage to you is the Mei, so I think this is the right pick. And since we have a Mercy, it might even be better. So I don't disagree with this pick. Reaper to your bottom left. Harass him out. If you're stuck in her grab and she focuses you and pops her bubble, the only thing you're doing by shooting her bubble is that you die faster, right? You actually run into the chances of surviving faster, surviving in general if you don't shoot her bubble, right? Instead, in this particular case, I see what you were doing, I see what you were going for, but effectively shooting her bubble and breaking it just kills you, right? Because she gets a ton of charge out of Pharah rockets. So in the offset that this happens again, don't ever shoot the Zarya, because if she was slightly more charged up there, you would have died. It's just a small pointer, but it could make a difference in the future.
Like a jellyfish.
What? The fuck is that supposed to mean?
Come on, get up.
Fly like a jellyfish, sting like a jellyfish. Huh? Huh?
Enemy over here. I don't think so.
60 seconds.
Justice reigns from above.
A little bit unfortunate there. I mean, you're doing a lot of damage, but Jesus Christ, you are doing a lot of damage. I would have liked for you to be a little bit closer to the ground before you did that. Kill the Mei. Kill the Mei. Kill the Mei. Mei, use her shift. No matter how this fight goes, no matter how it goes, I don't care. I don't care the result of this fight. What I am seeing a lot, though, is that your target priority needs a lot of work, right? Right now, we're not paying attention to any enemy ult cooldowns that are going out. For example, Reaper use shift. We did not focus the Reaper, right? That's a priority target. Mei used her ice block. She came out of it. We're not focusing her. Instead, we're trying to pin down a Moira over there, right? The target priority is all over the place, right? You can do some serious damage here. You can actually change this fight to be something that you will win pretty easily, but you need to be better when it comes to enemy ult cooldowns, right? Pharah is a lot about abusing the fact that enemy teams are taking a lot of splash damage and they need to use their defensive cooldowns to stay alive. The moment they come out of them, that's your moment to strike, right? So for example, another thing that you can do, when the enemy Mei was in her ice block, right? What you can do is you can fly up in the air, wait for it to expire, right? And when it expires, you can concussive blow right behind her, push her into your team, and she's effectively dead, right? You can do the same thing with Reaper, right? So target priority needs a lot of work. Instead, the Reaper got away unscathed. Mei used her ice block. She got away unscathed. And we're trying to spam down a Moira who's playing over here, right? What are the odds that you're killing the Moira here? Not very big, is it? Instead, you need to be a little bit more deterministic in what you're actually shooting at. So when Mei and Reaper uses their cooldowns, boom, strike for them straight away, right? That's the one thing that you should be focusing on. We don't care about the supports here. We care about the DPS, right? The Reaper and the Mei together is causing your Rein to die over and over and over again, right? If you want to kill the Moira, then you need to wait for the Moira to use her shift, right? We do not spam the Moira. We do not harass the Moira until her shift is off cooldown, right? Because even if you hit her with a direct, it doesn't matter. She's just going to shift away, right? But instead of trying to do all that, we can focus on a Mei with 10 HP with no ice block, with no defensive cooldowns, and boom, you win the fight. So, you know, try and be a little bit better with your target priority. Hopefully that makes sense. I don't really like that we're harassing the supports that much. Generally speaking, it's not a bad call to make, right? But in a fight like this, you need to be a little bit more sound when it comes to the enemy team's defensive cooldowns.
Even Zarya Nova couldn't save you.
I will not waste this opportunity. Aerial positioning underway.
10 seconds remaining.
Okay, nice kill.
The payload has reached the checkpoint.
Concussive to stop them from touching. I'm okay with that. Okay, that... Well, we're 100% dead here. But not before we get a Lucio kill. Nice. That's super helpful. I mean, chat, you have to understand that I am giving people tips, you know, in their rank, but I'm also giving them tips. Like, the way you gotta understand, the way I do coaching, the way I try and help people, is that people need to get out of this mindset saying like, okay, but it works in this rank. Why shouldn't I keep doing it? Yeah, because I'm trying to make you a better player. I'm not trying to make you the master of whatever rank you're in. I'm trying to make you a better player, right? That's what I'm talking about, right? So when I give people tips like Lemon Deception right now, is I'm trying to make them understand that whatever they're doing right now might work here, but when you step into the next rank, you're gonna get fucking punished for it, right? So then you gotta start all over again. But instead, why not give them advice that not only works here, but also prepares them for what's to come, right? So when I give people tips, some of you might go, yeah, but it kind of works here, so why are you pointing it out? Because it's not gonna work when they start to rank up, right? So I'm not doing it half-assed. I'm giving them all that I've got. So that's the way I'm looking at things. I want them to be prepared for what's to come. That's why I'm saying the things that I'm saying.
Let's give them their medicine. Taking off. I am power.
Okay. Mason to come out of the icebook here. She's a free kill right now. For 12 seconds. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6. Good timing. Perfect understanding of her icebook being gone. Good ult. I don't know if that Reaper is stupid or a Giga chat. I have a hard time understanding this. I don't know. I feel like there's a fine line.
Up and away. I will not waste
60 seconds remaining.
I would have waited with the concussive blast after the ice block was over there instead. Good target priority. Kill the Reaper, win the fight. Nice. Focus the Mei. Oh. Oh. It's beautiful. It's good to harass the supports here. I don't mind it.
Was there any doubt?
Okay. Nice.
Payload has reached the checkpoint.
Nice, 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 nice. Careful spamming the Zarya for the charge. Ay. She's 100 charge right now, isn't she? Now this is a Monka. Okay, now we have ult again. What are you gonna do with it though? Okay, they have a Bastion now. You're low HP, you need healing. Okay, there we go.
Thanks for the assist.
Okay, so they use Sentry Form, so you can effectively go... Okay, so we talked about this on the second point, so I'm going to point it out again, all right? I see 3 mistakes here. Chat, can you point out the two of the 3? Let me see if chat can figure it out. What was 2 mistakes that just happened? I'm going to give chat an opportunity to point it out. 2 very big mistakes just happened that we didn't capitalize on. And what is it? Feeding Zarya? That's one. Yeah. They're playing Pharah? Not really. He didn't tip his waitress. Staying in the same position? No. Shooting the bubble? Shooting the bubble is one. Yeah, there's two more. There's two more. So, we have arguably the most damaging ult in the game, right? You shot the Mei. Mei's ice block is on cooldown, right? She used it in the corner. You didn't see it, but you heard it, right? But since you weren't paying attention, you weren't sure. Second of all, Bastion came around the corner, popped his Bastion sentry form. It wore off. So now, they don't have Bastion's ult. Sorry, they don't have Bastion's sentry form, nor do they have Mei ice block. And two of the Zarya bubbles are on cooldown, right? And they're all together on low ground. So, chat, what do we do when that is? What do we do when not a single defensive cooldown is up for the enemy team, and we have the strongest ultimate in the game in terms of damage? What do we do? Exactly. We rain justice from above. You have the perfect opportunity there. With the Mercy on you, Sentry Form was on cooldown. Ice Block was on cooldown. Zarya bubbles had been popped, 2 of them. And we know that the Lucio used his ultimate for the last point, so he doesn't have it. You had a perfect opportunity to just go in and fucking team wipe them. But since we're not really paying attention to sound cues, right? You had no idea that the Mei Ice Block was on cooldown. And you probably already forgot that you popped 2 Zarya bubbles. And you probably also forgot that the Sentry Form is on cooldown as well. So, again, it comes down to, like, understanding sound cues. You pressing Q there, using shift, falling down, pressing Q with the Mercy boost, team wipe, and you probably push the payload in. And the reason why I'm going hard on you is for one reason. You have potential. I can tell that your target priority is a little bit off, but you're not a bad player, right? The reason why I'm going hard on you and saying these things is because this is going to help you climb, and this is going to help you rank up, right? It's small moments like these where you can actually solo carry an entire team fight, right? Just because the right conditions are met, right? So I'm pointing it out so you can go back at this and go, okay, he has a point. Sound cues are extremely important in this game, and I feel like a lot of people I would say undermine how important it actually is listening when you can't see what's going on. Just literally opening up your ears and listening to what's going on the battlefield is literally half the fight, right? But, you know, enough said about that. I just kind of want to say that, point that out. Let's see what happens next. That could have ended bad. You were late with the ultimate, but it was still, you got a kill.
Have you been keeping up with
60 seconds remaining.
If you, when you hit the direct on the Moira there, if you meleeed straight after, she would have died. Just want to point that out as well. We didn't melee after we directed her, so she survived and got away. But if you meleeed just after your direct when she was up close and personal, you would have killed her in one combo. Here's another thing I want to say, chat. Come on, dudes. Like, I see some people in chat being, like, really fucking rude. Like, this is not what my community is about, chat. This is not what we're about, right? Like, we do this to help people out, right? We literally do our absolute best to help people out and make them better at the game, right? That's why we're doing this, right? If people actually want to send in VoD reviews and like, you know, put themselves in a public space to try and get better, to be criticized, it takes a lot of guts to do that, especially in front of hundreds of people, right? So I'm not going to accept people like literally straight up BAMing folks. I'm not going to accept that, right? If I see you be an asshole in chat, it's completely different with saying it like kind of, you know, with a glint in your eye or saying it with a smile. You know, being sarcastic to an extent is okay, but just straight up being rude is going to get you perma-banned from this channel, and I don't want you here. I just want to point that out, that we're doing this to help people, and the fact that they have the guts to be criticized in a public space like this, I respect that way more. But if I find out that you're being toxic for no fucking reason, I don't want you here. Just going to point that out.
30 seconds remaining.
Unfortunate death there.
The payload is approaching its destination.
Good use of high ground. I like this. Unfortunately, our Ryan is dead. so I think we lose this. Yeah.
Time is short.
I like the fact that you're abusing that high ground though. Extremely powerful. Unfortunate. Alright. Well, Lemon, a lot to decipher here, my man. I mean, we already talked about most of the things, but like if I were to give you like a short rundown, it's that you need to do a way better job of understanding enemy teams' defensive cooldowns, right? The reason why I say that is that a lot of the time, I feel like you're kind of like, you see a target, you will stick on that target, and you will not move away from that target, and that target is dead. It is okay to focus on a target, not get the kill, and move on to the next one. It's completely fine to do that. What I need you to start doing a lot more is one, I want you to abuse high ground, like literally all the fucking time. At any point, on any map, for whatever reason, if you can abuse high ground, and you have the same sightline as you're doing on low ground, I want you to abuse it. That's the first thing I want to point out. Do not underestimate how powerful high ground actually is on any map, right? So I want you to start focusing on that. Two, you need to do a way better job of opening up your ears a little bit and trying to like listen for defensive cooldowns, right? There are a ton of moments where I hear the Reaper use shift, I hear the Maze ice block, I hear Soya bubbles going out, and we're not focusing on the vulnerable targets. Instead, we're kind of just, you know, honing in on a Moira that still has her shift open, right? I think you understand when I put it into perspective, right? Like, you have a Mei, you have a Reaper, no defensive cooldowns, but you're shooting at a Moira who has her shift open. I think you understand how backwards that is when someone points it out for you, right? So try and do a little bit better job and listen a little bit more carefully to what's going on around you. It's super, super important, especially if you're playing a character like Pharah in this sense, where you have one of the strongest ultimates in the game when it comes to damage. It is extremely vital that you know what's going on and what kind of cooldowns that you're working with, right? Pharah's ultimate can either be one of the best ultimates in the game, or it can be one of the most useless. It all comes down to what defensive cooldowns the enemy team has. You know? That's what it comes down to. Third, when you play Hanzo, don't be afraid of using high ground. Like, don't be afraid to use like wall climb. Like the entire game, you never used it at all. It's completely fine taking like offset angles, aggressive angles, moving up and down for whatever reason to confuse the enemy. It's completely fine. You don't have to walk up wherever you're going. Use wall climb more often. Second of all, one thing I noticed is it seems to me like your sensitivity is cranked up to the fucking maximum. I need you to lower that down a little bit, right? I don't think we need to play with that high sensitivity. So what I want you to start doing, for all sense and purposes, Lemon Deception, I need you to do !aim in the chat. And I want you to start doing that practice, all right? It's going to make huge difference for Hanzo gameplay. Trust me. I want you to do that about 20, 30 minutes, maybe before you start playing, as much as you can. It's going to make a huge difference, right? And please lower your DPI to like 800. Please. And then if you need to raise your sensitivity, then raise your sensitivity in the game, right? 9,000 DPI is fucking insane. So lower that bad boy down to 800 and use higher sensitivity in the game if you need to up it up a little bit. A recommendation that I have is that no matter how big of a mouse pad that you have, I think that it's always good to start off with that the left side of your mouse pad all the way to the right should always represent a 360 in game, right? So when you're moving it from the left to the right side, kind of like what I'm doing on the screen right now, like a swipe like this, woo, all the way to the right, that should be a 360 in game, right? And then if you need it to be lower, then lower it, right? Lower it at 0.5 and take it from there. But you need to have your sensitivity fixed. It's way too fucking high, and I can tell that it's very jittery even in the replay, right? So do those things, and I would love for you to send me back a replay in 3 weeks from now on. Do the aim training before you start playing every day. The more you aim train, the better your aim will get for most obvious reasons. In terms of positioning, we covered that. In terms of enemy team's cooldown, we covered that. In terms of cooldown usage, we covered that. In terms of flanking, we covered that as well. Hopefully that felt helpful to you. I did my absolute best. I went hard in the paint. Some might feel like it's a little bit unfair, but I'm trying my absolute best to make sure that you have the best possible scenario to actually rank up.